Let's bring in Chief Strategist of the Middle East Forum and former U.S. Navy Special Forces member Jim Hanson. Jim, thank you so much for joining us. I mean, the details here are shocking. We're talking about NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch confirming that these devices were, in fact, real IEDs that could cause death or serious injury, and reports of bomb-making material found in a car nearby. And now these two suspects are being investigated for potential ties to ISIS. Would you describe this, what you just saw on our screen right there with that potential IED being thrown, as a terror attack?
It's 100% a terror attack. It was attacking someone based on their ideology with an attempt to kill them, and obviously to intimidate other people into not using their First Amendment right to protest. Now, Jake Shields is not a good person, but what I found reprehensible was when Mayor Mamdani decided to talk about this, he started off by smearing the victims in this terror attack before he even got to the idea that maybe it's a bad idea to conduct a terror attack in the United States. That happened with other Democratic leaders as well. I think you need to look at yourself and look at what's going on. I don't agree with the protesters there, but I think they have a right to say what they're saying without fear of being blown up.
Yeah, well, let me read exactly what you're referring to with Mayor Mamdani's initial post on this on X, saying white supremacist Jake Lang organized a protest outside Gracie Mansion rooted in bigotry and racism. Such hate has no place in New York City. It is an affront to our city's values and the unity that defines who we are. What followed was even more disturbing. Violence at a protest is never acceptable. The attempt to use an explosive device and hurt others is not only criminal, it is reprehensible and the antithesis of who we are. So he referred to the other side of this, and the bomb throwing is what happened afterwards. And we now know the details of what he means by that. There's a piece in the New York Post, Jim, that says Mamdani must do a lot more than condemn violence after ISIS bombs fly in New York City. If he doesn't do that, if he doesn't condemn this violence in more significant terms, what happens next?
Well, he literally incited more violence in his statement by making it that. And you look at the group that's protesting against him. They call them "Get the Nazis Out of New York." You know, there has been violent incitement and rhetoric by so many Democrat leaders, we can't even keep track of it. And now people have been dying all across America because of what they have stirred up. They have riled up the crazies. And now, whether it's trans assassins or whether it's, ISIS-inspired terrorists in New York City, we've got a problem. And I think the people on the left need to understand, when the Hamas mobs were running rampant, nobody was blowing them up from the political right. They need to tamp down their rhetoric and see that they're responsible for some of this.
Yeah, I also want to ask you, Jim, about the latest on the war in Iran. And there are reports that one option on the table for President Trump is sending special forces into Iran to seize its nuclear stockpile, which would mean boots on the ground. What do you think about this and the fact that that nuclear material is still in Iran, in Iranian territory?
Yeah, it's difficult to consider the fact that they could have access to material they could use to make a dirty bomb or something else. The logistics involved in an actual raid to go into Iran, and most of the material is expected to be in the interior of the country, it would be a long multi-helicopter hop or other difficult logistically raid to plan and execute, so a lot of things could go wrong. I think another bombing raid, with the major bunker busters might be more likely if they want to take out that. A place where a raid might happen could be Karg Island, the oil terminal that Iran uses to get 60% or 40+% of their revenue from. Taking that and keeping that in hold until the regime falls might be a way to shut them down.
Yeah, and as War Secretary Pete Hegseth says, we're willing to go as far as we need in order to be successful, but of course they're not going to forecast any of those decisions in advance, especially in front of the media. Jim, thank you for joining us.
Good to be with you.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.